All right, everybody, welcome back to this episode of Show and Tell After Dark, our special single mothers episode. We're gonna kick it back off with the question that we had prior to our break, and it dealt with co-parenting, but I don't want to get it wrong. So, Cap, let's start us off, baby.
Okay, yeah. So, we were speaking a little bit about what advice would you give to any single parent whose co-creator decided that they didn't want to be involved. And I was piggybacking off of what Chink said about, it's hard and it's frustrating, and, you have to push through. At the same, and she made a great valid point. She said that she doesn't blame her co-creator for his decision to not be a part of his child's life. And I was talking to my brother about this maybe like a few weeks ago. We talk about this all the time because we're both in the same household, raising our children together. And me, my brother and I, we always have these conversations, and he has a podcast, and this is a subject on the podcast, and I said it took a long time for me to have compassion for my daughter's father. It took a really long time for me to get to a space of having compassion and extending grace for the simple fact that I personally, and this is speaking for me, I don't believe that people choose. I don't think that it's a conscious choice to not be a part of your child's life. I think that people don't know how. I think that people, I was telling my brother, choosing to be a part of your child's life does come from some type of self-love. Loving yourself enough to know that you're capable and strong enough to raise another human being.
Oh, that's very true.
And I feel like, people, mothers and fathers, who choose not to be in their children's lives, I think that they don't love themselves enough to know the importance and the value of raising another person, of what it takes, because it does take a lot of fucking resilience, a lot of self-discipline, a lot of mental strength, spiritual strength, all that shit, emotional strength. And I don't think that people are and this can just me being a Pisces, or me being super spiritual, but I really don't shout out to us. I really don't think that people wake up and I don't want to be a part. I don't think that they that just doesn't feel like a thing. I don't think that it's a thing. I don't think people are walking around on earth being yeah, I'm so proud that I'm not a part of my child's life. I really think that they can't bring themselves. They cannot bring themselves to do it because they have no self-love, which again was passed down to them. You know what I mean? It's circumstantial. So I think that just a piece of advice that I would give is just to it's going to take you a while to get there, but try to see things outside of your own bitterness, outside of your own bubble, your own perspective. Try to put yourselves in their shoes and say, well, hey, if I grew up the way they grew up, or if I, went through a lot of trauma or whatever, and you might have, but because they don't have enough strength as you did, because they're not a you, they're not you. And so try your best to, outside of your anger, outside of your frustration, outside of your bitterness, do your best to clear that out, and then to see the bigger picture, which is where they came from versus where you come from, and how y'all handled y'all situations. I don't think it's a choice. I really don't.
Right.
And people can prove me wrong. There can be some people that's I really don't give a fuck about this kid.
Right.
But even that in itself speaks volumes. You don't love yourself, period. The root of that is you not loving yourself, because that person is an extension of you.
That's right.
I definitely agree. I think so I definitely have Clayton's friend, who he didn't want to have this child, and then I remember he's venting to me. He was oh, she's trying to force me to be a father, you know what I mean, and I don't know, I'm thinking about it now I'm just bringing it up, and I was wondering what I would do in that situation. I feel like you have to, the word is step up. You gotta step up and just do it. But I kind of see where he's coming from. But does that mean if he didn't want to be that father, does that mean he didn't have enough self-love, or maybe just hated who he was having that child with?
Or afraid to become his father.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, actually,
it could be a lot of different things.
He didn't have a father in his life.
Or not being able to be a father.
That could be a part of that.
From not having a father,
Yeah.
not knowing himself enough to be able to give this child everything, like in the place he needs to be in life, you know, like I think men have a choice too, like they should be given a choice, not that they have a choice, but I think men should be given a choice. Like it's a discussion that needs to be had. Yes, you guys are adults when you have sex and you should know if it's unprotected, but sometimes things happen, right? And you get pregnant, you're like, oh, I'm pregnant, and then it should be a woman could say, I don't want it, and I don't have to have a conversation with you to get rid of it. But I don't have to have a conversation with you in order to keep it. That don't make no sense. So it's like it's a thing. So I don't blame men who aren't in their child's lives because they didn't have a choice to say, oh, I didn't want it. Yeah, they sound like assholes, right? But it's like, I don't judge. Everybody has a certain point of their life that they get to where they feel like, okay, maybe I have to make up for what I decided to do in the past. But I feel like they shouldn't be down. It's not like downed upon.
This is a thought. I don't know if it's true. I'm just going to say this phrase. It's better to not have a father in your life than it is to have a resentful father in your life.
Or inconsistent. Yes. I also want to say, like, with that, what you said about your friend, I do feel bad sometimes in certain situations with men that deal with that. Like, yeah, we know it takes two to tango, and, like, you know, shit does happen. So, but I do feel bad for men who know they're not ready, say they're not ready, and then the woman still decides to have the baby. It's kind of like, you know, you kind of did that to yourself, homegirl, because it's like, this man gave you warning. He said it, and you still ready with a relationship, raising a child, anything with them, loving themselves, everything. They're not going to be ready. Unfortunately, I do feel like women is kind of forced on us to like through like journeys and life lessons, because we're mother and we're like the main caregiver, so we have to kind of push that love ourselves in order to get right. But you men, they kind of, it's like, it's different. And I like I said, I do feel bad sometimes when men are really vocal themselves and be like, hey man, I'm not ready, I know what we're doing is risky, but you know, I'm not ready, and the woman is still thinking like, you know, I'm still gonna have this baby. Well, baby girl, that's on you now. Now you're asking yourself to be a single mother because this man done told you. So next time y'all get freaky, you better put that rubber on, because you know, like, it's just I'm not biased to anything. I try to look at everything in everyone's perspective, just to be a very understanding of where people come from. And I feel like if they're not ready, they're not ready, and it's up to you if you want to be a single. At that moment when they say they're not ready, you're choosing to be a single mother or to be miserable with that person trying to make them a part of their child's life. So.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with you, Jinx. I piggybacking off of that, I think that it's also like some sense of like delusion for some women. Like, I feel like in their minds they're like, I know he said this, but once I decide to have this baby, he'll come around. I think it's reality versus delusion, like being delusional, because like Ching said, if a guy honestly tells you he really won't, he's not in any state to take care of a child, you can say, okay, but I'll have her, you don't have to be around. There are some mothers who do that, and they got it like that. But there are some moms who are very delusional. They're like, well, I'm still gonna have her, and you're going to have to. Like, you can't force anybody, not even just a father. You can't force nobody to do nothing they don't want to do. You know what I mean? So I think there's like reality versus like delusion. Like, you just have to be honest about where you are, and then listen to what somebody's fucking saying to you. Because 9 times out of 10, when a guy's saying he's not ready, he's fucking not. You know what I mean? And so it's like, he's not saying it to like toy with you, like, oh no. It's like, no, he's not ready. And so then you have the baby, and you're.
The guy told you he wasn't ready before you slept with him. Would you give him in?
You said, say it again.
The guy told you he wasn't ready to be a father before you sleep with him. Would you still give him some?
Wait, you mean if my do you mean like
Let me repeat that because the audience will hear. If a guy said he wasn't ready to have a child, would you still sleep with him? No, because women like pleasure too.
The quickest way to get them to put on a condom is saying, if I get pregnant, I'm having it. Look how fantasy.
You want to be stuck with me for 18 years?
Okay, wait.
This is another
like you done
question
tested
too.
it out.
I just think.
No, but I think that question. Okay, let's bring that shit the fuck back, Holiday. That, not to say it doesn't make sense. Are you saying if you're trying to, if I'm trying to get pregnant, and a guy says that he's not ready, you know, prior to us sleeping together, am I still gonna sleep with him? Is that what you're asking? Like, but if I want to have a child,
If she wants to get pregnant,
yeah. If
let's just say you wanted all. Let's say you wanted all that, and from
well, that wouldn't make
beginning,
sense.
Before you see him, he tells you, I'm not ready for that.
but I still sleep with him unprotectedly. You're asking if I would still do that?
Yeah, 'cause you-
No.
Sure,
I
if
mean,
he was
who-
super attractive,
No plan
he had
B?
12 inches.
Like,
No plan B in the morning.
I don't know. I
We're elevated now, though. Like, you know.
I feel like that's irresponsible. Like that's
right.
very irresponsible.
That's
I feel
right.
like again, that's you're living in a state of delusion. You're living in a state of delusion.
Can I say real quick? Sorry. What she said, I feel like a lot of us, and especially in the Black culture and in our culture, we deal with that delusion at a young age. And I'm not gonna honestly per se. I'm not gonna say me personally, but I've been around so many females that been in that delusional state at a young age. Like I said, I started being sexually active at 15, and then 3 years later I became a mom. Right. So imagine all these other young women who dealt in those experience near in those teenage or to prior adult years, making these type of decisions, having sex without being educated with certain things, and then you know, as years go by, you get at a certain age where you're like, oh shit, like maybe I should have did this way, that way, third.
Right.
But it's all life lessons. I feel like it should. We need to stop. We need to teach. That's why I teach my daughter like she's nowhere near, like she got a few years until she'll get her period, but she knows what that is. So when she when I told her, like, we don't talk about the birds and bees yet, but I let her be comfortable to be like, I like this boy in kindergarten, or like when she was in kindergarten, she had a little crush on this boy, and I let her be open to say like how she feels about, like, you know, the opposite sex and stuff like that, just so she can be comfortable and understand like this is normal. But there is boundaries to this, so you don't get yourself in situations. And I tell her, like, you know, you want a good man, you want a guy that open doors for you, pull your chair open for you, you know, make sure you're okay, make sure you know you're straight and care about you, you know, check in with you, be consistent. Like, I just feel like we start like at a young age thinking about, like, you know, sex and this, that, and the third. We're not really thinking ahead. So it all, like, I just hope that eventually we teach our kids to break that type of cycle.
I wanted to say this. It's in the same realm. And we're talking about delusion. I just think that, like, I know this is a generalization, and I don't know if it's true, but it's a saying that's like women are susceptible to falling in love with men due he says he doesn't want to be a father, but I see that he could be a great father. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean?
Listen, us women, when we deal with guys,
that as a woman,
if we really
ever make,
listen,
think about your greatest potential. Think about yourself.
Right.
You can't think about somebody crazy look like us. You know, like so people who are mentally ill look like us. You never know who's mentally ill. Don't fall for a cute face. Okay, or a small waist. Just, you know, like, that's
big. I don't know. sorry.
Period.
That's very true.
But back with what Ching said about, like, open, you know, like, you want that man to pull out the chair, open the door, the chivalry, right? Yeah. The cow is chivalry.
Chivalry is dead.
No, it's not. It's not. But it's, if you don't know better, you don't do better. That's right. So it's the environments that we are growing up in. I started opening up the doors for my babies. Right. I'll open the door for you. I got it. I did a 13-year-old, when Aaliyah turned 13, I did an awareness party for her and her peers. I got consent from all the parents, and I had my friends who were certified in talking about sex ed at the house. And we did awareness party, age appropriately. Right. You know, and then I gave them all diaries, and I ordered pizza and said, now get out my face.
That's dope. That's real dope.
Like, you know, peer pressure is real. Yes. And I wanted to meet my child's peers. Yep. Right. And you know, she's solid. She's a solid person. She's like me. We're chameleons. We get along with everybody. We're loners. We're loners, but that can mix with any crew that we're around. So I didn't have that issue with her, and some of those friends had kids later on, you know, like young. And that's just all goes with the support that you have at home, the environment you're growing up in, your parent wanting to like learn and advance themselves and their families. People are comfortable where they're at, and I'm not. I always want to live better, do better, and teach better. So the next generation has a head start more than what I had. You know, sometimes I feel like I was born in a ditch and it keeps raining. And I can't climb out. Once like the vines are strong and then the mud comes. It's like, dang, I thought I was close, you know? Strong so I'm trying to get to the top, pave it, put cement on that shit. So when it rains, keep raining. You know, like, but they have a foundation to stand on. I don't have that. I still don't have that. I don't have a great relationship with money, let alone men. Like, I'm not even thinking about a man right now. I'm thinking about money in a healthy sense. I'm abundant. I'm rich. And so, my bank account ain't saying that. My bills are screaming all at once. They're like, bitch, do overtime. All right? So, I work a lot. And it's hard to build a family. Like, I built a family. We all build families that you can't even watch grow up because you're too busy providing. You're doing a woman and a man's job, you know, from the old days where the men work and the women stay at home raising the kids. I'm trying to juggle everything. It gets hard, but as they get older, it's like my children always had a great understanding of what I did because I stayed transparent. You know, growing up, it'd be like, mind your business. Stay out of grown folks' business. But where you at? You tricking? Like, what you doing? You treating? Like, I don't know what you're doing. But I try to be as transparent to them as I can. Sometimes it's hard when you're like multi-managing like 1,000 things in your head.
There's a lot going on.
It's a lot going on. So to translate that and communicate, cell phones are the greatest things that ever happened for parents. To communicate or start communicating with their children. You never knew how to talk to your parent. You know, so it's like, how do you talk to your child about all these things that we go through? All these things that we experience in life. Sit down and be like, yeah, I talk to this boy, his name is Ben. And he wanted me in bed. Like, I didn't understand that. Like, you know, like how, like now I could talk to her. She's going to be 21 and I try to view her more closely as equal instead of my child, because I remember when I was 21, I had 3 kids like on my way to my 3rd. So to understand them and with her is like trial and error. So with her is trial and error for the next one and the next one after that. So the more children I got better at parenting, but I just wanted more, or better at supporting, you know, emotional support and talking to them and stuff like that. But now they have each other to talk to, so it's pretty cool. Like, go talk to your sister about that. I want to hear that. You know, I don't care about that boy that you want in your bed. Like, no, but my house is definitely no man's land. Definitely the no man's land, and I know that because I don't show that, they don't move like that.
Right.
Can we go into the conversation of dating? So let me get some brief background of like, I told you guys I was raised by a single mother, and I always thought she was a fucking like machine. Like she
in what way? Yeah.
In the way that like all she did was take care of 3 children. You know, she put us all through college, and she just like everything was about us. Everything was about us, and I was like. Then like when I grew up, I was like, Mom, like, don't you desire like companionship? And I was like, do you like? And I was like, I didn't think my mom went into the dating world because she had children.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Cut me off whenever. It's a conversation.
No, you good.
At the end of the day, say what you last said.
I didn't think my mom desired companionship because she had children.
Sometimes the men don't want you because you have children. And they don't want to take you serious. Yeah, they see 3 children, they're like, "Ooh, wet pussy." That makes you feel like a tool. That don't make you feel good. Then you get to a point where you stand strong in yourself. You're happy with yourself. You self-love, self-care, everything. You don't need a man for that. Talk to me.
It make things maybe a little better.
It always feels good. We know how it feels already.
It feels good to be desired.
It does, but lusted or like lust, desire, all that. I want to be loved.
Yeah.
You know, I want to be taught. I want to be led. I want to be loved, and all that. We all know how sex feels, and in that moment, it's temporary, right? Some people are doing it and then wondering, what am I gonna do? What are we doing next? Some people do it and count their change. You know, like at the end of the day, the morals and the goals behind that. What can we talk about? What can we sit about? Where can we explore? And they see you with 3 kids and they're like, what can she do? She got 3 kids. But honey, I took care of 3 kids. I brought 3 kids on vacation. Like me and 3. What can you do?
Yeah.
And it's just about what the environments we're growing up at and the mindsets that we're around and the mindsets that we ourselves in our communities. You know what I'm saying? We don't come from somebody who's sitting down giving us awareness parties. At 13, you know?
And perhaps maybe your mom was thinking like, sorry, don't mean to cut you off, Scar. But like I was saying, perhaps your mom was thinking like maybe, you know, she's not ready to bring a companion around her kids unless she knows for certain that he's at a certain caliber to be a part of their life, because in her mind she's single parent, so she knows what it's like to deal with someone who's not there or like not consistent or whatever the cause may be. So she's probably in her head like, yo, if I'm gonna date because I know in my mind, like my perspective, I was just telling Cap like, yo, I ain't bringing no man around my kid unless I know like he's a certain way and like he can set an example to her. Like I'm not gonna bring no man just because I'm dating I'm like him and he got a mandingo, whatever the cause may be. I'm not bringing her around them unless I know like it's for certain. And maybe there's men like who do think like, oh, you got 3 kids, you got 2 kids, you single. I don't know. And it's just like that can be fun time for a mom, not like serious moment. Like, so it's like, it depends. Like it's really hard dating as a single parent, because then like you got to worry about sometimes depending on the father, if they're like, oh, trying to manipulate anything you got going on with somebody else because you have a kid with, like, it's many factors.
I had to make sure my baby father kind of moved on. Like, oh, you got a girl now. Woo, thank God.
I told y'all
Jesus,
my baby daddy just made a kid this year. He has a son, so it's just like in my head I'm like, oh, he really moved on. Like before, I told you he wasn't able to be a father unless we were together. Like he wouldn't want to. He couldn't. His thing is, if we ain't together, he can't be the father he wants to be to our kid. And I thought that was very fucked up and selfish. But like at the same time, it's like you gotta give. Like once I realized like he made a whole nother human being, it's like that was my little green light to go. Like, okay, it sounds weird, but it was like that was my green light to be like, okay, like you done did your thing, so now like I'm free. But even till then, I'm very cautious about like
bring people around,
the people I bring around, because I want my daughter to idolize like any guy I choose to be in our life, me and her life. She has to look at him like, wow, like that is the type of man I want to be with when I get older.
I was wondering, because I had this conversation with a few women, and they were saying that like there's like specific times that they think that like dating is right for them. You know what I mean? They're like, oh, either when they're younger or when they're older and out of, or like maybe like high school, that's like the right time to start dating again.
I agree in knowing that I've been going through the process of it. I agree, because when they're little, they don't know what the hell's going on. And when they're older, they know what's going on.
So you think there is a right time to start dating again?
I say date when you feel like dating. Like I'm the opposite right now. I have 11-year-old, like I said, 15 going on 16 and 20 going on 21. If you can't withstand the friend part and come over and kick it and come into my world, and my kids roast on you and stuff like that, like like you not a part of this family. Like you got to be a friend. You got to be able to come over, kick it, and know how to just chill. Yeah. If you on the can we slide on a night like this? Nah. Not I might. Like, nah, like, my kids are home. You crazy? Right. Oh, they don't go to sleep? Yeah, but no, they not gonna wake up to see you washing your private part in my sink, in my bathroom. That's right. You know, like.
That's a thing?
It's a thing, I guess.
You walked in on that?
No, I didn't, but it's conversations that were had, you know, with women. We talk about everything, so. Okay. It has happened, and I was like, I would never have that happen in my house. Right. My kids don't know you during the day. They're not gonna know you at night. Right. Period. Like, period.
Yeah, I agree with what Chinks and Sky said. I think like there's too much emphasis and energy put on dating. Like, nigga, like, it's bigger than that. Right. It's fucking bigger than that shit. Like, we're trying to build community, bro. Like, it's bigger than trying to
build a foundation.
Yes, like, I'm trying to build. It's like Sky said, if I can't just kick it with you on a platonic level, you have no business being around. You know what I mean? Like, I truly do believe in, like, friends first. Like, I have to be able to have a quality life with you as a friend before a romantic partner. That's the way I operate. And, like, niggas, I'm not going to generalize. Some men do not want that, especially now. And then they see you with children or a child, and they automatically just want to, like, play house and not keep house. And it's just like, I'm not just a fun mom you can just fuck on whenever you want to and then dip out. Like, they automatically think, like, oh, damn, like, she gonna want me to be the father. And my son, what am I saying? My daughter doesn't need. There's a quote. It's like my child doesn't need a daddy. I do. And it's like I feel like men have to they have to get it drilled through their heads. Like, there are some women that are looking for, like, men to step in and be that father figure, but there are some women who are just looking for a good time, just to build. Like, I genuinely want to travel the world with someone and, like, experience new things with someone before we get into, like, exchanging sexual energy. And, like, the epitome of taking it slow. And to be honest, we live in a fast-paced culture now. Social media, like, eat all this stuff. It's fast, go, 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 go. And it's like, niggas just want to just go in for the kill. Like, the first night, second night. What we doing?
They think they rappers. I swear they think they rappers. They think they in the music industry living this fast life.
I'm still tight as fuck. Bro. But, no, I feel like we put too much energy into it. Like, I'm trying to show my baby girl the world. I'm trying to travel. I'm trying to experience new things. I'm trying to check off the shit on my bucket list. Like, it's bigger than dating. Dating is just a minor piece of, like, my world as a woman. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like there's so much, like, that goes into it. There's books on it. There's podcasts on it.
Go ahead, Cap.
Just like, bro,
speak that shit.
Preach, what
baby.
else, though? Like, what else? What about the generational curses, generational wealth? Like, freaking Shane just educated us about I-bonds. Like, we didn't know about that shit. We should be talking about that shit. You know?
What that is.
I-bonds be bygones.
but I think when a lot of times, like, well, since we're talking to all girl moms, you know, I think a lot of women, when they have a child and they were like, damn, I really don't want my daughter to have daddy issues. That's another stigma, right? They were like, oh, I don't want her to have daddy issues and grow up to be like this and that. So they're trying to lock down a relationship and get that male figure down.
I mean, to be honest, I've met women who didn't had lack of father figures in their life and turned out beautiful.
I am
so
one.
And that was off the strength of their mother being very strong, playing mother and father. So honestly,
or
like,
grandmother,
that too. Like, I feel like it's a mindset thing, mind over matter. What you know and how you want to take it and where you want to go with it in life.
If I could say anything to the youth, if you're watching, right, take your time. Take your time, know yourself. Take your time, know them. Let their true colors peel out. If they don't stay long enough, that means they only wanted one thing only. Somebody said to me one time, there's like this saying or whatever that the elders say to the youngs. Put this, whether it's a rose, whatever. Let's say it's a rose. Put this in between your legs and squeeze and never try to drop it. Like, don't open your legs for nothing or nobody. Like, just, it is precious, but we're not taught that. Growing, like, I wasn't taught that. Let's say some people weren't taught that. Like, this is a rose, you know? Roses are precious.
No, it's not.
Well, this is a napkin, but we're artists, right? So it's a rose, right? You know, we just, you know, the beauty is in the eye with the, you know,
within the beholder.
Exactly.
The metaphor is very powerful.
But yeah, so it's like just that lessons, you know. A lot of our parents, weren't doing that.
I really appreciate that. I wanted to get back into like, so when we talk about dating and stuff like that, in you guys' experiences, like, what are maybe like is it struggles, or like what is the dating experience like for single mothers, or like, you know, for you guys in general?
Okay, I'll start because I jumped back into the dating pool what are we in, September? Yep. The end of July going into August, I vowed to date again. Like, you know, my child's father like moved on. And I was like,
did you wait until he moved on?
No.
Because I did.
I
was
waited
like,
until
please move on so I can go.
Yeah, for real.
I waited until I was
everything
ready.
I got going on.
No. I waited until I was ready, but I said he moved on just so y'all know that he moved on. Okay. And so I waited until I was ready. I didn't like. I was like, okay, that was the first initial like, okay, he moved on. So once you're ready, he can't say anything because he moved on, type shit. So I waited till I was ready, and I finally became ready. I was healed from our connection, and I started attracting men that had children. More like every guy that I attracted had a child, and I loved that for me because I'm like, oh yeah, like I love this. Like not so much about like play dates and shit. I wasn't into that. Like I wasn't ready for that. But more so like parent talk. Like we go out, we talk. Yeah, the understanding of like, okay, you got a child, whatever. But what I noticed was that, salud. What I noticed was that for me, the main struggle was mental stimulation. I think that a lot of them had children that were older than Sav, like, you know, like 8, 13, like, you know, older. And I feel like they like dealt with the mothers of their children for a while, or like they was dating. So it was like
Negative way?
No, in a positive way, like a very positive way. And I was grateful for that. But I think and a lot of them were older, but they lacked like a fuel that I was looking for in a partner, or in a person, like in a person. The fuel for life, the excitement for life. A lot of them were very content and comfortable. I don't want anyone who doesn't have an excitement for life. Someone who, and I thought, you have a child, so you know what it's like to have an imagination. You know what it's like to, like, I have such a youthful spirit, and I felt like the men that I was attracting were like kind of like
dead inside.
Old man. Yeah. And I was like, I'm just like, damn, like I don't know if I want this. Like a part of me was like, well, girl, don't you want a mature man? Like you want somebody. And I thought, and I'm like, Sav, having my daughter actually made me like crave someone who has that youth, who's older in age, but has that excitement about life, wants to travel, but a lot of them were really on some like weird shit. And I think that was the hardest for me. And then when I started attracting the younger like crowd, they were just looking to hump. Like, and I'm just like, damn. So I never got a chance, and I'm still like going through this process, but I want the chance to be able to have someone with that balance. Like we can do it all, baby. We don't have to just be one, like we old now, we go cook. I don't like that shit. And I also don't want someone who doesn't want like, I don't want someone who doesn't want to grow. Yeah. Like, true. You know what I mean? So like, I don't know. It was hard. Like I haven't met anyone yet. I'm like, oh, I'm perfect. I need that. No, but I just want someone who's on the same level. Like, okay, we growing together. Like we in this together. You like to travel, I like to travel. You like to have fun, do this, do that. You got kids, I got kids. We can bring the kids out. Somebody who's open, like just free spirited, open. I wasn't meeting that. So I closed myself back off a little bit. And I was telling Chinks, we were talking about like sex, like casual sex. And at one point I was like, I could use some casual sex. Like I wouldn't mind that. But then I also thought about sexual exchanging energies. And I was like, damn, like I feel so sacred because I haven't been in a connection. I haven't been given my body. So I was like, it has to be like it has to be someone that I really trust, and someone who has like, they don't got to be perfect, peachy keen, all spiritual.
At least understand,
someone who knows who they are, and they're not like sharing their energy with too many different people and stuff. You know what I mean? So I think the hardest part has been finding someone that's like, okay, like I could do this with you, and it won't be nothing to like something that won't get crazy. I'm not looking for anything crazy. Like crazy meaning like someone who won't be possessive the first night. Someone who won't like, we go on 2 dates and now they're telling their friends, "Oh, I'm about to marry her," and it's like, you don't know me. There was like, it was crazy to me, like the things that I was picking up on, and like the men that I was meeting in the dating pool, and I had to sit back and check myself, like, you know, maybe you just have to focus on what you're doing, what you got going on, and God will align you with the right person over time. Like, it's not that I was seeking, but I did vow to open myself back up, and I did attract. But now, since I closed myself back off, I'm like, okay, like I have more energy to invest in what I want to invest in, to be grounded and stable in my own life, and then eventually I know that I'll attract my divine partner, you know.
And that's a work in progress.
Yeah, it's consistent. It's never ending. But like, I know eventually that I'll meet that person who's like aligned, that we're on that journey together, because that's what it's about, like growing together.
And I assume that you'd want someone with like spirit and like kind of like you know, this fuel for life, because it's like, not only do you want them to inspire you, but also like you have a kid, you want them to inspire that and nurture in your child, you know what I mean? So that's what I would think.
Sure. Sky, I also want to be thankful that you did say that I did hear you mention about sorry, I don't mean to be a little off topic, but you did mention about, like, you said you were 35 years old and you're still finding yourself, and I appreciate you saying that, because I'm 26 and I felt like I'm just finding myself too, and I was like, am I too late? And I realized it's never too late to find out. Like, everybody is going through their self-learning journey.
Yourself.
It's a never-ending journey.
Yesterday has influenced me in a way that is going to be different for my mindset today. Yes. So I'm always growing. I'm always learning. I'm always changing. I'm always finding out about myself, or going through something that didn't work for me, made me understand what does. Right. You know, so it'll always be that constant evolution. Yeah.
It's appreciated hearing somebody older to say that, because a lot of us feel like we are lost and we don't know like where we're going or where we're headed. And when you hear somebody who's more experienced than, like, I'm gonna say experienced than me, and say that, it just gives me hope and like motivation to still be encouraged to find myself and continue on my journey, and hopefully, you know, hope for the better for myself, like you do yourself and for your children.
I just say, always give yourself grace, no matter what transitions you're going through. Just embrace it with open arms, open mind, open heart. Like, it's your journey, and it's gonna help you in certain ways. Just like the question about your parents, what they didn't give me made me go harder to give them. Right. You know, like what I didn't have made me go harder to go seek. You know, like what is it to leave the country? Yeah. You know, what is it to travel by yourself with nobody out the country? You know, like I started chasing things that I didn't know were for me. Like growing up, I thought it was for white people. Like, you know, like so no, they're for us. We just weren't allowed to do those things. Yes. You know, but now we're allowed. Yeah. So let's go chase that.
Right. Also, too, a big part of it is like living in, we were talking about scarcity and abundant mindsets. There's also like limited and limitless mindset, you know what I mean? And like fear-based. And so I feel like taking fear out of the equation, like fear is facts, false evidence appearing real, you know, like fear is an illusion.
What's on the other side of fear? Courage.
So false evidence appearing real. And so one thing I do want to say though, Chinks, I want to reassure you in this moment and give you your flowers for being here. As we were speaking earlier, you know that you're on the right path when you align with people that are like on the same frequency as you know what I mean? And you being here today, like everything that it sounds mind blowing, but everything that you did from like being born led you to this moment. Right. So like you're doing something right. You know what I mean? Like you being on this podcast, you being with us, these single mothers. That like
where you're supposed to be.
It's exactly where you're supposed to be. So
our
like,
lives are written for us. Sis.
Yes, exactly.
Our lives are already written.
Exactly.
So when you wake up sometimes, and then 5 years later, you're like, hold up, I think I dreamt about this in a dream. At one point, it's written.
Yes.
You see your life.
Yes. Yes.
Me being single for so long is on purpose. Yeah. I'm not meant to be with anybody right now. Yeah. Or then I shouldn't have been with anybody then. I shouldn't played house or whatever. I had to learn the hard way, but it's all right.
Yeah, these are your lessons, like you said.
Thinking about people who be like getting in relationships and getting married at like later on in life after the kids is all grown and stuff. And I recently started thinking like that just because like at the time that you think you want love and you think you need this, that, like God's like, that ain't ready. This is not for you right now. You got self-learning and a journey to go through before you can get that. And I feel like when people around an older age who get married or who find love and all that stuff like that, it's just like it's just meant for them. Right. Like I start to really finally understand certain love lines and stuff like that.
We definitely watched too many Disney movies growing up.
Wait, sorry.
We freaking have. We have. I was listening to the Camp Rock soundtrack the other day. Just to like tap in. Sometimes I do that to tap back into my inner child. It's healthy. It's healthy. I need to time travel sometimes. And so just to see how it made me feel in adulthood. So my daughter, we come in from grocery shopping and she's in her carriage sleep. So I decide I'm gonna just cook dinner while she's in her carriage sleep. You got to take your opportunity, baby. Okay. So I'm like, let me play my spirit just. I'm like, let me play the Camp Rock soundtrack, just see how it made me feel, and I got emotional. And I was like, this is what I felt back then. And listening to the music, it really gave me that like hope of like that fairy tale love, you know, like you meet. And a lot of that shit drove me to make a lot of the decisions that I made in my childhood. Like a lot of what we watched, a lot of what we listened to was like, it was like moving our little bodies. We was like, oh, we like this. I watch Disney. You know what I mean? But those were like, that was our time. Yeah. Those were lessons in itself as well. You know what I mean? So like, I ain't never knock what I was listening to or watching back then, but now I know better than to not so much like micromanage my daughter, but like just to be aware and mindful of what she watches, what she listens to, so that she's more tapped into you know, like to let her know these things are possible, but there's certain ways to go about, you know, getting what you desire out of life. You know what I mean?
I just think TV, social media, all that has us have a perception of what love is supposed to be or look like, or the whole marriage thing, the whole you meet somebody in college, you go to college, you're gonna meet them in college.
Oh my god!
The same mindset and oriented, goal oriented, and then you get married and then you have the kids and then yada yada yada. A house and white picket fence. I hear is liabilities.
Yeah.
Okay. What I hear is bills. Stuck, loans. I hear debt. I hear all that for chasing American dream. I always thought, I'm American. Why I ain't living that dream? Like the fuck, you see people coming out of other countries coming here living an American dream. And saying it too. I live the American dream.
Right, proud.
It's so crazy. My brother said, it's not his quote, but he watched a lot of podcasts and motivational stuff. He always coming to me telling me gems. He was like, it's the American dream because you have to. He said, they call it the American dream because you have to be asleep to believe it. And every time he says
once you're woke, you're living your dream.
Yes, and it's really a nightmare. Yes, it's really a nightmare. But I wish Chinks was here. But I was gonna say in regards to what she was saying. Everyone has their love timeline, you know. Like and we also need each other we need relationships to grow. Like I feel like that relationships have been a huge catalyst to my growth, my spiritual growth. Like if I wouldn't have gotten with certain men, I don't think I would be here today because they taught me a lot. They did. You know what I mean? So I feel like I'm grateful. Shout out to them. But I do feel like the relationships in my life that I even till this day, like platonic or romantic, I learned from them. I feel like I wouldn't be able to learn about myself if I was just like barricaded in a room by myself. I don't think I'd be able to. I have to experience other people. I have to be able to, you know, be triggered every now and again to be like, oh damn, I didn't heal that part of myself. Let me work on it.
People come into your life as you need them.
I joke a lot about, you know, I joke a lot about polygamous stuff.
Stop her.
I joke a lot about polygamous stuff. I'm not into it. It's cool, but I am like an advocate of love around you, spread love. Like I meet Mo, I could love Mo, like even if I find somebody I'm in a relationship with, I could love, you know, Tata, I could love Shane. Spread that love. You know, it's not ownership. People tend to get into a relationship and be like, that's my woman and that's my man. At the end of the day, you're individual and you have your own mind and you have your own ways, and that's where love comes in. When you love somebody that you're not trying to change, and you accept them for all that they come with and all that they are, you know, that you love them in and out. You could enjoy their companionship. You're comfortable in their silence. You don't have to talk much. You could just live in the presence and not want so much from that person. So like all I want to do is be happy. Right? So I just want to be happy. I want to just live, you know, in companionship. I'm not looking for a husband. Yeah, I wish I could be a wife, but is it because I watched Disney stories growing up, you know, like Beauty and the Beast and stuff like that, like whatever the case might be, but I just want to date. But nowadays, like, what is dating? Right. Talking, texting, sexing, like,
you're redefining everything.
Like, DMing. What is dating to men? Like, you guys are men.
Exactly.
What are you guys doing? Like, do you guys want one or two women? Like, I prayed for so many years for a solid circle of men in my life, right? And God placed me in a job that I work with strictly only men. And I'm learning every day from them. And some disappoint me, some disgust me, some are like, you know, flirt all day because there's nothing else better to do but then flirt with me. You know, I'm pretty. But and I'm cool, you know, like, and I'm cool. But they're like, it's nice to like every day I'm like speed dating with them. Like, I'm on a different team every day. There's like 300 plus employees, so it's like, oh, you been here before? You worked in this type of department before? No, yeah. You got kids, this, that, and third, and you get to know people. But that's the importance of life. Get to know people. Don't see a pretty face or a pretty income or whatever the suit that they're in, and you see a job behind it. Just like really get to know them in their darkest moments. Like be a friend enough to know, well, what do you go through depression, and most important, do you love yourself? Like spend time with these people, learn how to kiki around them, and not have to talk about sex. Right. You know, like not have to talk about what you doing later. Oh, those beautiful eyes.
I feel like that's what stems off of us single.
They put it though.
I feel like that's what stems off of us single mothers delayed in dating, because we realize like we need to take time getting to know certain people, and then like if we do, like for instance outside on work experiences or just meeting people in general, you start getting deeper connection of who people are, and then you be like, this ain't it. Exactly. Right. So it's just like after years and years of like dealing with people, or you just kind of feel like, not saying that there's no hope, but you just kind of like you know, like I'm getting to know you on a platonic level. You're my friend, you're my coworker. I fuck with you, and it's just like compared to what you were before.
But it does sound like you're saying like, I'm kind of giving up. I'm not saying I'm giving up, but I'm kind of giving up.
Somebody said I'm a hopeless romantic, and I'm like, what's that? You have this vision of love, and I'm like, whatever. I'm not a hopeless romantic. Like, it's cool to, but it's cool to dream. It's cool to dream about love and being in a good relationship. You know what I'm saying? Like, without having to share yourself with other people in one relationship. Right. Like, love yourself. It's cool.
Listen, baby. What you want is out there. Period. I don't give a fuck. Like, and not for nothing, there are perks and cons of social media, there are quote unquote like close to perfect connections where people are in healthy, thriving partnerships and they're growing together and they're doing what they have in their individual lives apart, and then they come together, they have their shit together. That hopeless romantic shit, that what you believe in, your standard, look, that's out there. It is possible. There's nothing in this world that is impossible. So I feel like when people say that shit, that's them projecting. Like it's like you don't believe that shit about your life. You don't think it's out there for you.
But wait, Capella though. Like,
no, hold on, but I had something else to say. I wasn't finished. So like, also too, I don't even know what I was about to say. I was about to get into a whole rant. Okay, anywho, child, go ahead, finish.
Now she passed the mic. Now you can talk.
That was divine intervention. Okay.
But also too, like whenever you get older, like you said, like I'm gonna listen to this Camp Rock thing and I'm finna go back. But the older you get, you have whenever you're at a certain point of your life, you have perspectives and you have your feeling and you have that definition of what that person.
Yes. I read a book and I passed it along to my daughter, and is The Freedom of Being Alone.
Ooh,
and there's like this one part I'll never forget, and I preach it to like people who are in relationships. It's like, instead of coming home and being like, oh, you come home at 5:00 every day, it's 7:00, where were you? Yep. Let him come in, because he's an individual of his own, right? He's his own person. Let him come in and be like, how was your day? Was there a lot of traffic? Like, create conversation, get to know how his day was, instead of being like, why you late? Like, I'm my own person. If I wanted to stop at Bill's house and have a cigar, like, I should be able to do that. The bills, that's a mature situation. And also, like, if I'm going out with Mo and me and him are talking and I see him kikiing with Cap, I shouldn't be like, what the fuck they laughing about? That's my man, and be like, who you? I'll stand by like in the back and look and be like, Cap is making my husband laugh right now.
Right.
Like he's super happy right now, and I love that for him.
That's right.
And I'm not jealous.
That's right.
Thanks for making
because
my man laugh.
Because you're so secure within yourself.
More love and laughter in life.
Keyword, so secure with yourself.
It's going home together. Okay, you could flirt. You get with people, right? And they flirt. You got with them flirting, right? That's a trait. Yes, it That's is. A characteristic trait that they have. You can't. You're gonna be mad that he's flirting with Chink. Sorry. If he's laughing with chicks now, right? So it's like, I'm not gonna be mad at that, but if you're like, oh, what's your number and this and this and that, that's a different story. Now that you need help,
right.
Unless you're into that, but let people be themselves.
That's right.
Literally, let
that's
people
key.
be themselves.
That's
because I don't control. That stems from like trust issues, like insecurities, not being secure within yourself. You know and that takes a long time though to bring yourself to that point, like where you feel really secure, where you're not like side eyeing your nigga, he out, and you're like your eyes twitching and shit. It's like, no, you trying to play it cool with you, sweating bullets. You like, all right, he's been over there for 5 fucking minutes.
Like, lift yourself from that slavery.
Yes,
that's right.
Lift yourself free yourself from that.
You're letting that be your master. Letting that insecurity be your master.
Learn how to have control over your fucking emotions. That's really, because you can feel jealousy, but it's about how you act on that shit. You can swallow that up and be like, sis, that's just your insecurities, your triggers coming out. You have to heal that part of you and you work on it. But if you're gonna act on it and actually start an argument or get an attitude, now you're being a slave to your emotions. That's immature. It's emotionally immature.
That's you in a cage.
Exactly.
Who wants to live like that?
Yeah, I definitely can relate to that too. Like, always be accountable about your emotions. Because me as a Pisces, like it's in the house. But anyways, like, and it's really hard, especially having like a mother, right? That's very kind of, she can be tone deaf at times. Like growing up, I want to say it was abusive, but like there would be certain ways where she would communicate to me where it's like it would damage me, to where it's like I would have resentment for her, and then it would, but I would try my best not to like try to projected to other women, because like I grew up in a household of like, you know, it's complicated. Yeah, but it's a whole different story. But what I can say is, you know, always being around women and being educated by them, I wanted to have like, I wanted to try like salvage whatever relationship I had with my mother. You know, I still have a relationship with my mom. You know, we're still, it's okay. You know, but I wish her understanding would be better. Like I feel like if her understanding of like how me as a man, like how I feel every time like she would say certain things, like even tell me to do things, like the way she would tell me to do things. It's like there's always a way where you can be able to communicate. That's right. You know, and it just
sometimes y'all don't listen though.
No.
I gotta tell you 2-3 times, like you forgot. Like no, get the fuck in that room.
Okay, no.
Take that trash out.
I honestly feel most. I really feel most because like my parents got. I was telling Cap like my parents got divorced when I was 5 years old. I remember a point in time where my parents were happy, married, and doing their thing, and then I remember a point in my life where it was just my mom and the kids. Like it was us and my dad. Change? My mom changed. My mom was very like the way she even growing even in the teenage years where she would like, I'm going into knowing myself and who I want to be. I'm doing things for her more than like doing shit for her that she can do for herself type. Like I'm making adult moves and she's over here talking to me a certain way. I'm just looking like, yo, like, you know, it's like you that's why I was saying like you like what Tata was saying, like what certain things a parent is feeling that impact you, like, you know, at a certain point in time I thought my mom was an angry black woman, like because the way she was acting, like even in school, like if a teacher said something crazy, she like, oh, you better not talk to my kid, like, and I used to be like embarrassed, like, yo, my mom's crazy, but like it was a personal thing for her. I realized like it's just the way she grew up, the angry black woman era of her, like protecting herself, protecting her cubs, being a single mother, like that was just her energy. Yeah, and I've learned like I don't take it offensive. So Moles, my advice to you with that, like honestly, I'm still learning with that, and I would say like just like your mom is probably at an age where if she is with that characteristic, she's gonna be like that because it's embedded in her. She's already older and everything like that, so you kind of just gotta take it with a grain of salt and just kind of be on some like, you know, that's her, this is how she is, and you know how you are, and you know what you can offer, and you show her in a different way where you can be respected, because I've definitely feel you on that one. Yeah, and this is like, I'm gonna just say this too, because this is a true story too. This is earlier this year. This is actually on my birthday. I was on my way to Texas, and I remember me and my mom was getting into it, and then like the bipolarness in me just like went off. You know, like I went outside, I just started throwing trash barrels, started screaming. Everybody was hearing it. And my mom, like, that was the first time like I scared her. You know what I mean? And it's like we always get back and forth, and like she would always do the petty thing, but like she was really scared. You know what I mean? She was like terrified. It's like, and I didn't like. And even when I went to Houston, like I was mad at her. I was still mad at her, but then like I had to like think about it, like, yo, like I know when I get back home, she's probably gonna throw me out. And then I was just like scared because like I didn't want to scare my mom. You know, I love her. You know, and yeah, I was in my emotions, and it's like I made a vow, like from this day, like I have to change. You know, like because she's not right. No, actually, she's not gonna change. So but absolutely not. And I understand. And I'm like, and I understood what was going on in her head. Like she don't want to throw her son out, but that's something that she has to do. Yeah. If I'm gonna keep on like being crazy, but it's like I have to really like fight tooth and nail, like
even just say certain things like, just like, Mom, like, you can't say that to me. Like, you have to, like, yeah, you know, there's always a way. Sometimes she'll just brush it off.
Respect.
Yeah, you know.
I'm your kid, but respect.
But respect.
Like, I know life is hard, but sometimes you gotta grind hard to create your own peaceful sanctuary for yourself away from what triggers you. If things that your parent does is triggering to you and it gets in the way of your well-being, you have to stand up and create the life that you need for yourself. So you don't have to get there. You don't have to go there.
And what I will say as well, piggybacking off of Sky, is that one, thank you for disclosing that you are seen, you are validated. I also want to add on to what Sky said in regards to you being triggered. It sounds a lot like your mother wasn't emotionally nurturing at all. And which obviously we can't fault her because that was probably how she was parented, her upbringing. Yeah. However, what I will say,
she's the type she would never like tell like her like she, you know,
and not for nothing, like sometimes at some point in time, especially now we're not getting any younger, like Sky said, you're gonna have to move forward and create your own peace of mind outside of that. And what I will say is I resonate as you too, like it resonates. And it's not easy to detach from the person who wears a vessel. Like she was your vessel to bring you here. I know that emotional attachment, that emotional cord is the hardest to sever, and I want to commend you for even being in awareness and being in the know that she wasn't the best the best nurturing or maternal figure, and sometimes it's okay. That this is a story that's written for you. You're learning through the way your mother parented you, and now you know, like when you decide to have children of your own or in your connection with your girlfriend, you won't do that. You won't neglect someone's emotional needs because you see the outcome in yourself. Unfortunately, like we are a product of the way we were parented, and so we can choose, we can flip the script and be able to come out of that and be like, like I'm gonna decide to not be this way because I see that I'm a product of what being this way will lead to. You know what I mean? Like we're a little fucked up, but we're getting through that. Like it's the breakthrough, and I feel like, it's I think that it's a testament to your character, you holding yourself accountable, being like, I have to not react that way. However, don't try to heal in the same environment that got you sick, my love. Like it's not that's not a thing. You know what I mean? Like it's like trying to be and it's like trying to heal your mental while being in a psych ward. You know what I mean? Like sometimes you really have to sever that cord at your, like when you're ready, at your pace, but it's necessary for your healing, for your growth. And it's gonna be hard, but it's not impossible. Like I said earlier, nothing is impossible on this journey. Like you got it.
I appreciate the gems from both of y'all. Honestly,
your mom will
like
be all right.
Your
mom will be all right.
Lived to the point to where she had you. I always say that about my mom. Like parents, they had a life before us. So much so till they had you. Okay. So there's.
She will have a life after you, baby. And
that's
she's
right.
Gonna learn it her own way.
Right.
It might not be in the way we would like them to.
And if you want to do your mom well, you gotta do yourself well.
Yes.
It's like us with our children. If I'm not right, my kids ain't right. So if you're staying around because you're like, no, my mom needs my help, or I don't know what my mom's gonna do without me. All we have is us. Right. Like I seen her go through a lot. I want her to do better. Right. But the only way she could do better if you do better.
That's right.
You're doing yourself and her a disservice by staying and being like, I just want to, like, your savior complex. Nope, you got to save yourself. And you can't parent your parent.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, we cutting that shit out. We can't parent our parents. Like, that ain't the thing, baby.
And just as you are aware of your where you fall short, moms know where they could be better. I'm not gonna say we, but as a girlfriend, I have a bunch of pride. Sometimes I know there's times where I need to apologize, and there's just something in me that won't fucking move. I want to do it, I just can't do it. But I'm aware of that, and your mom, she's aware of that. And just as you're aware of that, We know. Everybody know. Yeah. We all know.
Yeah, that's where my sisters left. Because they knew.
But
so we're ending on like a little heavy note, but that was I think this has been an amazing conversation. I just want to know if there's like any last remarks or closing statements you guys, or maybe like advice to maybe someone who might be watching this that any of you guys would like to close with.
Love yourself.
I was just thinking that in my head too. Love
Self-love.
yourself.
Love yourself.
Love yourself. You can't love somebody else if you don't like know how to love yourself. What can you give to others if you don't know what to give to yourself? Like, help yourself first. Put you first. Put you first.
Also, too, allow your children to teach you.
That's right.
Like, don't try to, like, like, to be honest, our children don't belong, like, we don't own them.
My mom says that all the time.
They are not our possessions, okay? They are here as catalysts to teach us. So allow your children to teach you, to guide you. Do not just think that you are their teachers. They are closer to, like, spirit realm than we are. So, allow them to teach you and stay connected to your inner child. You know, stay youthful. It definitely knocks some years off of you. So stay youthful. Do the things that, like, you know, you used to do. Like, you know, stay active. And be active. Like, allow yourself to be engulfed in your children's world too. Like, you know, if you have younger children, older children, do things that they like to do, and then have them join you and do things that you like to do. You know what I mean? Like, I get on the floor with Sav and play with her, even though I don't fucking want to talk to toys and shit. I get on the floor and I play with her, and I'm like, she's saying gibberish shit, and I'm like, yup. And honestly, there was this quote on IG just to close this shit out, and it was like, the worst thing about parenthood is that you have to fake laugh. I fake laugh so fucking much, it's ridiculous.
That is hilarious.
And I can't wait for the day where I'm geeking with Sav, like where we're actually geeking with each other. Because right now I'm just like, I can't keep, but in my head I'm like, bro, it's not funny.
I can't fake laugh at nothing. I just won't laugh. But I laugh.
She be like, Mommy, look at this flip.
You're like, oh my God, baby, that was so cool. And then you turn around, you're like, what the fuck was that? So no, yes, be engulfed in your children's lives. Allow them to be engulfed in your life, and don't, like, neglect yourself.
Yeah, I'm being funny, but sometimes it's all right to say fuck them kids.
Because fuck them kids.
Like, sometimes it's okay to say fuck them kids. Like, they alright, they got it, they got food in the fridge.
And communicate with your children. Tell your children when you don't want. No, for real, this is a gem. Like, tell your children when you really don't have the capacity. Like, you know, sometimes even though Sav is going on too, sometimes I really get the whining, the sometimes I have the patience for it, and other days I don't. And sometimes you really got to get to their level and talk to them. They understand, like, they're going to eventually understand you. Like, listen, baby, I don't have the energy to entertain this right now. Like, I'm going to have to walk away. I'm going to have to breathe. Because then if not, you snap. Parents snap, they scream, they hit, and then that's not, you know, displaying, like, healthy emotional behavior.
That's teaching them how to deal with their emotions.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Some people be like, I don't talk to my kids at that age because they don't understand. Like, no, they're going to eventually understand you. Sometimes I look Sav in her eye and I'm like, girl, I'm not playing with you right now. And she'll stare at me, and then she'll turn around like, okay, girl.
Oh, she's really not playing.
Yeah. So, you know, just communicate with them. Like, they're an extension of you, so they know. They get that fit. My mother used to give me this look when I was younger, and it was like fire in her eyes, and I used to be like, all right, I'm backing up, girl. You don't even gotta say shit. You don't even gotta say nothing.
Oh yeah, I think that was definitely a gem. Could you can you guys plug in what you guys want, what socials, or how people can find you?
Okay, you can find me at Cap Ariga on IG. CAPAU. Wait, hold on, y'all. CAPAURIGA on Instagram, and then on Facebook it's just Capella Ariga. And then, like, my website is in my Instagram bio, to my YouTube and my website and all that stuff.
Did you get the wine and wellness? You didn't plug that in?
Yeah, it's in my bio.
Like,
my IG bio, everything's in my bio.
Same. You can find me at Cash Monet, CAJ.MONET_. That's my personal Instagram. Follow my organic soap page at Nurturify. It's on my Instagram page on the bio. You know, check me out. Get your little fresh organic soaps made by me organically. You already know.
You guys can find me on Instagram at The Real Cricket Smith. I was going to say TheRealCricketSmith.com, but
I love it too.
Thank you. But it's cricket with a K. It's KRIKET Smith, SMITH. No C.
Okay.
No C. Don't put a C in there. You ain't gonna find nobody.
We ain't crippin', baby.
You can find me at hangingHigh.com. You could explore the page if you're willing to help me build it. Please DM me. Always trying to make my website look bigger and better. I go by My Skies High on Instagram. So Sky is with a S at the end, like ownership, like My Skies High. SKYS.
I like that.
And you can also follow me on Instagram. That's _ the generous one. And you can find me on basically all platforms, especially music. That's MOS space GENEROUS. That's most generous.
Show and Tell Boston After Dark. This has been more than a pleasure talking to you guys and understanding your perspectives and you guys' personal stories. I think it was very enlightening and interesting. I think that there's a lot to learn in these situations and a lot to understand. So just come from a male perspective. Right. There's a lot of things that I didn't realize, or a lot of things that I'm kind of just learning in general. But I think this was a dope talk, and I think this one to understand.
Thank you so much for having us, and I appreciate your willingness to want to be open and understand.
And that's a wrap.
Good night, everybody. I was over here falling asleep.